What's up, and welcome back to Cleats to Whistle podcast. I am Brad Valdez.
I am Kevin Watson.
And man, we are
co-pilot.
here. Yeah, the co-pilot, the co-host, the hostess with the mostest. That's what it is. There you go. Hey, but we are here in Eminence, Kentucky, man. Here at Eminence High School. This is Coach's first time ever here.
I've literally never been in the city or any. I mean, it was I was wide-eyed coming in.
Small town.
Small town. So yes, we have the head coach here, Ryan Jones. Yes, right? Okay. Yes. I got PTSD for saying coaches' names because I messed up on one time. So I just wanted to make sure I got it right. That's right. But yeah, we are here. Very excited. And we just linked up, you know what I mean? I hit you up on the DMs and in the Twitter, and this is how we got it all lined up, man.
Yeah, I've actually been a fan of y'all's podcast and been listening to it for a little while. So it when you contacted me about coming out, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. But you know what? Let's go ahead. We're just gonna jump into this podcast because this is a little community here, yes. And we're not really like we're from Louisville, so
we're big city guys.
Yeah, we're like the big city guys. You know, this is a little city. You know what I mean? Just talk about the city real quick.
Well, I'm actually not from here. I just moved here 3 years ago. I actually live in Newcastle, so I live about a mile and a half from Henry County High School, which is only 5 minutes from here. I will be going into my fourth year teaching, and fourth year as a coach here. It'll be my third year as a head coach. But no, it's a small community. Honestly, we've moved here and love it. It's a very tight knit community. And again, you always hear people. Everybody knows everybody. But, when things have gone bad and there's been some, a couple things we've had to deal with in the past, the community definitely comes together. And Friday nights, it is small town football. We have good crowds out. Had a rough season a couple years ago and still had a really good crowds at most games. So, and that's one thing we're trying to work on is making the Friday night environment even better. So,
hey, I tell you, we did a quick little tour of the facilities, and we'll throw a little video on there of the facilities. And I'm telling you, if I lived in this area, I would want to come here on Friday night and watch a game.
The administration, I think anywhere you go, the administration is a huge part of that. And I kind of told you all earlier, when I got here, the facilities were not like this. So in the last couple of years, the facilities have really grown. Superintendent, Dr. Barry, our principal, Angie Deckert, AD, Jason Tillett, they're all very supportive of everything we do. And from the time that I've got here, if I've asked for something, anything that they can do to get it for me, they've done it. So,
and that's great when you have that, the people that really see your vision and are willing to help.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is it pretty fair to say that all these people you just mentioned went to school here, or no?
Dr. Barry is from here. Yeah. Yes.
That's got a lot to do with it.
It does. Principal and AD are not, but one's from Shelbyville, one's from Carrollton, so close by.
Yeah.
Oh, so Kentucky fam. You know what I mean? That's awesome. But growing up, where'd you grow up? You said in Newcastle, right?
Well, I live in Newcastle now. I actually am from Richmond, Kentucky.
Oh,
yeah,
nice. Eastern Kentucky guy. Yeah. So growing up there, you know what I mean, and growing up in this game, who are some of your mentors you'd like to shout out?
I'm sure I'll forget somebody, but when I was there, I played for Paul Raines, who and then when I left there after I graduated high school, I went to Georgetown College.
Where did you go to high school?
Madison Central.
Madison Central. Yeah. That's a rich, history-rich program.
Left there, went to Georgetown College and played for Coach Cronin. And that whole staff, which actually those guys were at Madison Central when I was a freshman. That's when he left and had just gone to Georgetown. And then when I got back into coaching, I was with Coach Raines again for 1 year, my first year coaching. He was there, and then he left to kind of start the LCA program. After that, Kenny Turner was the head coach for a few years. He was at Covington Holmes before that. And then a huge one for me is Mark Centers. I was with Mark as an assistant when I started out. We went to Garrett County. He was a head coach there. We were there for 6 or 7 years, and actually won a region championship there. It's the only one in school history. So I was there with him, and then he got the job at Madison Central when it opened back up, and we went back to Madison Central, and we were there before I came up here. So,
oh wow,
dude's been around.
He's been around, man.
I mean, every program he just named is. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate to be surrounded by guys that not only great coaches but great men, and that's be able to teach me the way that the right way to do it, I think.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we're gonna throw his Twitter in, so you guys can give him a follow on there. He's you're a big family guy. You know what I mean, on Twitter, man. So did you have a great dead period?
I did, and I actually spent more time probably this year over dead period with my family. I know any coaches out there know dead period's not necessarily dead. You're at home looking at stuff and trying to get things lined out for day one. And but this year, yes, I did try to take as much time as I could and be able to spend it with the family, and so that was really good.
Yeah, and having that support staff, at home, you know what I mean, the wife, the kids, everybody's, really got your back in this, because that's what you really need is to deal with the stress and everything that comes in. You're in a little community here, and dealing with stress sometimes, you know what I mean. You hear the moans and the groans of the parents or the kids, So it's kind of great to have that at home.
Oh, absolutely. My wife, her dad actually is a softball coach. She played softball growing up. I coached softball for a few years. She was an assistant for me. So she knows what it takes to be a coach as far as an athletic family as well. And so I couldn't ask for anybody better than her. She actually spends probably about as much time as I do up here, doing little things for me and getting things lined out and fixing food for the kids. She actually just cooked food for the kids last night while we were out at the practice and fed them when they left. So, yeah, she's a huge help.
It's always a good thing, huh? Coach got his wife that really, that gets on him when he makes a bad play call, too.
Oh, she would sit in front of me. I'd be up in the booth. She'd sit in front of me. That was her spot. And something would go wrong, and she would turn around and go, I'm like, I didn't do it on purpose. We didn't give up that kick return on purpose,
Right, absolutely.
But she was like, it's your fault. I was like, okay, yeah.
Yeah. But you love her for it, though,
and
right?
I always told her, you just sit there and look pretty, and I'll take care of the football.
I kind of mess with coaches, you know what I mean? Because I really like to see what they want to do, out when they're away from the game of football. You have any hobbies or anything?
Honestly, not really. You kind of hit it on the head earlier. I like to spend a lot of time with my family, but we are sports people. My whole family is. So, over the dead period, we went to St. Louis to watch some baseball games. My wife and I have always kind of been a fan of trying to get away and go to different stadiums, whether it be baseball, college football, whatever, when we get a chance to. So spending time with the kids at home, with the wife, and then being able to kind of take some trips when we can, that's what I do outside of football.
Love it. Family guy, you know what I mean? And that's what we're trying to spotlight, you know what I mean? We can try to get out into the state and really, hear the passion that you have for this game, and then hear your support system you have at home. It's just this is why we like doing it. Is to get you, to know your why you do what you do,
Right. Right. And I think, as I said about the coaches earlier, one thing that all those coaches that I've been with have always stressed is teaching football, but also teaching outside of football and about life, and that's really why we all do this. And that's something that we majorly have been stressing here over the last year and a half to 2 years.
Love it.
I always wanted to coach a county team just because it's different than city.
It is.
You have different problems. I mean, and I always wanted to just see what it was like to be the only show in town, You go out to, how many schools are here?
You've got us in Eminence, and then you've got Henry County down the road, and that's it.
I mean, that's, like you say, recruiting, we won't say, the word, but when you're in, it's the city of Louisville, you got people.
Right.
A kid can go pretty much anywhere they want anymore. So it was like the Wild Wild West there for a little while.
Yeah. For us, the big thing is just getting the kids out in the school that should be playing, or just getting as many
I found
guys
that
out.
you can walk in any school, any high school, and there's 30 kids that should be playing sports that aren't.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I've looked at some of the marching bands, and there's a 6'8" kid that should be playing football, but he's not.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy to me. You are like any high school in Jefferson County where we're from. You can walk through there, and there's 5 dudes that should be playing football that aren't. Right. Whether it's they're doing something else or they're lazy or don't have the grades or whatever. But, I mean, it's crazy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And like you said, coming from Madison Central, which is not a big city, but it's a 6A school. It is a lot different here. Go from 6A to 1A. There's advantages and disadvantages to both. Obviously, at the small school, numbers is always an issue. So,
I will tell you what I found. Like I coached at D-Sales at the time we were 2A, and I've been at 6A. The difference is you get to know your 30 kids a lot better than when you have 110.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it sounds stupid but that's the way it is. When you got 30 kids, you find out a lot more about those kids than when you got 110 kids. I mean, it's more personable, and it seems like they stick with you longer.
Yeah, and I think you get to know them early. You know, one thing for me here is I'm teaching PE and health, and I actually do K through 12. So I've got kindergarten kids right now. I've got every kid that comes through the elementary school at some point during the season. When they get to middle school, they have to have a PE class at some point. There's 2 PE teachers, but, you know, I have most of them. So,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I get to know those guys. And like I told you all earlier, youth league practices right out here beside us. It's really good because, you know, I still get to see those kids starting in the summer way before school starts back. So just being able to develop those relationships really early, I do
And
think
it's
that's a huge
great
difference.
to see those kids, the little kids, light up when they get to watch the big kids.
Right.
Do they line the field or anything on Friday nights when the kids come out? Or that's always been cool to me to see the little kids giving them 5. And
We haven't, but that's something we're trying to work towards. You know, we kind of, when I got here, started working on the high school program, working on the middle school program, and kind of working our way down, trying to help the numbers grow in all of them. And that's something that we've really been trying to do is just get more involved with the middle school and then down to the youth league. So, yeah, that's something that we're working towards in the future.
Yeah, so with that, you know what I mean, you're trying to build traditions around here. You know what I mean? What are you bringing from, like, your past? Are you trying to bring anything here, or do they have some traditions here that you're just trying to keep?
You know, I think you try to do a mix. Try to keep some things that they've done. One thing that we've really been harping on lately and we've really done is our leadership meetings. We've started doing, for the last 6 months, we've been doing a leadership meeting. Kids come in. We've had different speakers, Coach Centers. We've all kind of got to have a speaker that was influential to us when we were coming up. You know, I had Coach Centers actually this past Sunday. We had Coach Fromeyer, who used to be here. He came in and spoke for us. So, you know, and they've talked about different aspects, you know, that we're really trying to work on. And so being able to do that, and outside of that, just, you know, grow as a family. I think that's one thing. And another thing that we've really, you know, the weight room obviously is a big deal anywhere. When I got here, this weight room looked nothing like this. It's the first thing we did. Again, the admin was on board. So being able to teach the kids that, you know, in the off season, you're still a football player. The rules and the things that we do during the season, those still apply to you when you're off in the off season. Even, you know, if you play another sport and you get in trouble in school, you're going to be punished in school. You're going to be punished with whatever sport's in season. You're also going to be punished with football. And it's just trying to get that mentality of, you know, doing the right thing all the time.
And that's another difference between 1A, 6A, the number of kids in the building. I mean, your 6A kids school has got 2,000 kids. It's a lot easier to blend in and hide than it is. I mean, how many kids are enrolled here? High school kids.
High school kids, we're probably 250.
Yeah. See, I mean, yeah.
If that, maybe closer to.
So a football kid gets in trouble.
Oh yeah.
Everybody knows about it.
Everybody knows. I quickly get an email or a phone call. You know, the principal will, you know, hey, so she'll send them straight down to me. You know, they got in trouble when they're sent to the office or whatever. Then, you know, it's no time before I find out.
So they're going to get in trouble 3 times. They're going to get in trouble by the principal, by the football coach, and then when they get home.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, and that's awesome. Just, you know what I mean, because you're the football coach. You're like, I'm going to hold you to the standard of a football player all year long, and that's what some kids don't really get. You know what I mean, especially when we're at a big program, or, you know, in a city and stuff like that. So
somebody's always watching. Somebody knows you're a football player.
Right.
Somebody knows it. And I always told my kids, you go out and you got that logo on you. Don't embarrass yourself. Don't embarrass us. Don't embarrass the school.
Absolutely. And we tell them, you know, it's like y'all said, as small as the town is, you may not even have the logo on, but they know who you are.
They know who you are.
Somebody in town sees you and you're doing something you're not supposed to be
doing. Frank
they're
that comes to the games on Fridays.
Absolutely.
He sees you acting a fool. His first phone call is going to be the coach.
Yep.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah. Okay, man. So we're going to get back into you. You know, let's get back into you, and we'll do some little icebreaker questions. What is your favorite holiday?
My favorite holiday.
The dead period.
Well, honestly, it would probably be either Christmas or 4th of July. So I say Christmas because that's actually a time that I can get a break from football. It's just ended, and I kind of try to always take that time at the end of the year, spend it with family, and kind of not worry about football for a little while. That's the furthest away from the start of the next season. And then 4th of July, my birthday's in July, my wife's birthday's in July, so we usually always get to take a trip somewhere around there. So one of those two.
There you go. Yeah. I love that, man.
Christmas was always because there's nothing going on.
Dude, you get the kickback and
that's the true break.
Sit back and watch bowl
Dead
games.
period's not a break.
No.
That's right. And there's football games on 24 hours
So,
a
hey,
day.
so that's
Yeah.
what it's about right there. That's your holiday bowl season.
That's
is what you
So,
wrote with.
okay, I got a question about bowl season or March Madness.
Bowl season.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm a basketball guy. I played basketball, but bowl season.
There's nothing like it.
No,
is there?
you can't beat it.
I like watching the little teams, the Troy versus the Wright State or whoever.
Yeah.
I like watching those games because those dudes give it their all in those bowl games. It means something to
They
them.
give it their all. They're always fun to watch.
Yeah.
They're creative and
Absolutely. They run the double reverse pass.
They don't care.
Yeah, they don't care. They want to win that game.
Yeah. Any superstition that you had as a player or coach?
not particularly. I'm very much a routine guy. So if we go 1-0, then whatever I did week 1, I'm going to stick to it in week 2. So not really any superstitions, but I'm a routine guy. So if it worked week 1, we're going to do it week 2.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
Exactly. What was and now we'll just get back to the episode, man, and just be like, what was the one thing that really got you want to get into this coaching profession?
Honestly, it's something that as far back as I can remember I wanted to do. I grew up in a sports family. I've always just loved sports in general. Like I said, I played basketball also. I played baseball until I was a sophomore in high school. So just the competing, being a part of a team and just all of that, it's like I said, as far back as I can remember, I've always wanted to be a coach.
Yeah. When did you know you wanted to get into
Coaching?
Coaching, yeah.
Very late. I hated all my coaches when I was a kid. I didn't want any part of it. And I've told this story. My buddy Rob Reeder, who was coach at Marion County, passed away from cancer. He got me in coaching because I saw how much fun he was having.
Right.
And how highly he talked about the kids and wanting to be around the kids. And he just asked me, hey, what do you think? I was like, I'm in. If I can have as much fun as you're having, I'm in.
Right.
It's not always fun.
No.
But it's great. When
Yeah.
it's going, it's great.
Yeah, I just missed the game. You know what I mean? I really, I love being in the locker room. I love messing around with the guys and stuff.
Yeah.
But when I graduated, I didn't play any more ball. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I just missed it so much. And I got back into it, and it just, man,
I don't miss it yet.
injecting into my veins.
I will miss Fridays. I will tell you, I will miss Friday nights because that is sacred. Your time with your kids when all the work either comes or goes.
Right.
That's your time to show what you're made of and if you know what you're doing and if the kids are ready. And to me, that was the fruits of your labors on Friday night.
And I think that's one thing that we try to stress, but I don't think kids understand is there's nothing like a Friday night.
No.
You can play on Saturdays and all that, but there's nothing like
same.
playing on a Friday night. It's just taking the field is just different when you're in high school.
High school football is different. Saturdays are totally different than Friday, and Sundays are totally different than Saturdays and Friday. I mean, it's just that weird feeling that you're a kid and you've got all these people behind you, and like here, the whole city probably shuts the doors and they come and they know your name, they know who you are, they know your family. It's a great feeling.
Yeah. So with you being around here, what's like the food spots? Is there any food
We
spots
saw
you got
two
around?
coming in.
Yeah.
And you saw most.
McDonald's and Subway.
That's about it. There's
got to be a Mexican restaurant, right?
There is a Mexican restaurant.
Okay.
There's a couple little pizza places in town.
Okay.
I'm a huge fan of finding a hole in the wall gas station or something like that.
They've got the best chicken livers.
BNN, which is towards Shelbyville. Bullies in Oldham County, places like that is where.
We got to get Bullies. Let's get a sponsorship for this guy, man. Have a coaching show there. I mean,
yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, within the tavern. There's a tavern in Newcastle, so it's a mile from my house. So it's that's a place we go hit for lunch when it's my wife and I and the kids, and we can kind of run up there, eat real quick, and get back home. So not a lot of choices, but there's some good ones around
The
here.
locals always know.
Yep.
Always know.
If the locals don't eat there, I'm not eating there.
And what would be your favorite fast food? Coach and I, we just had shout out Wolfenbarger, man. We just had the Meat Mountain
At Arby's. Have you ever
At
heard of the
Arby's.
Meat Mountain?
I haven't had it.
It's chicken, brisket, pastrami, turkey, ham, 2 different kinds of cheeses, piled on top of each other.
I'll actually put a
You have
picture.
to look
of
at
it.
look at our picture. I mean,
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I was sick for 3 days. I'm not gonna. It was great,
Hey,
but
hey.
I was miserable for 3
Woof,
days.
woof. That's a young man. That's a young man's
that's a
game
young
right
man's
there.
game. I think it was probably 10,000 calories. I'm not gonna lie. It was.
So what would be your favorite fast food?
I'm a chicken guy, so Chick-fil-A, which my kids love Chick-fil-A, so I'm there all the time. It's not necessarily fast food, but I love Five Guys. So
You got to take your checkbook there, buddy. That's
true.
That's pretty steep.
Try to go without the family when we go with that one.
Yeah.
The wife or one kid, not don't take everybody. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you know what?
I love
I went to Penn Station, right?
Oh,
I would never go back to that
You got
place.
to take a small loan out to eat.
Well, yeah, I went there and I got 4 sandwiches and then I got 3 fries. I didn't know the fries were.
It's probably $70.
It was $82.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I won't come back to this place, man.
I like Five Guys. Five Guys is good.
Yeah, Five Guys. What's your order?
The double or the single?
Double.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You go big or go home.
Okay. The number you wore, did that have any meaning to you?
I wore number 7. Yeah. Well, yes, I'm a huge Florida Gators fan. So growing up, when Spurrier was at Florida, I was a big Danny Warfel fan. So that's kind of where that started.
You're showing your age there.
I am. John Elway also. I was a big fan. So that's why I had.
Maybe one of the most famous 7s.
Yeah, that'd be the 7s. Yeah.
Besides my guy, my guy was number 7,
Roethlisberger. Yep. He's that's a horrible team, man. Who's your favorite NFL team?
Honestly, I'm not a huge NFL guy, and I say that I don't necessarily have a team as much as I like to follow certain players. I've played quarterback, so I was always a big fan of Drew Brees and Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. I like watching certain players, or even now that I'm a little older and really more into it, I like to watch certain coaches. I love watching Sean Payton and the 49ers, Shanahan, and those guys. So when it comes to NFL, that's more kind of my thing.
Okay.
I can say it now because he's retired, but Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback that's ever played the game. I hated him because I was a Steelers fan.
I was never a huge fan of his, but I agree.
He has got to be. I mean, I'm a Joe Montana. I love watching Joe Montana, and I love Bradshaw and Staubach and all those guys because I'm older. But I mean, he was just he was great.
He said I'm older.
Well, I'm older. I remember the Steelers of the 70s and the Broncos when Elway was there. A lot of these kids don't even know who Terry Bradshaw is other than he's on
NFL.
Fox NFL Sunday. I mean, let's be honest.
A lot of them don't know him from that because I don't know how much football they watch anymore.
Well, no. If they're not pushing the buttons with their fingers, they're not. And you'd be surprised how many kids don't even know who Joe Montana is. Jerry Rice.
Yeah. Who was the one? We just went somewhere and they didn't even know who. I can't remember who it was.
We threw out a big name and they're like, who? And we were like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, there. I was like, oh my goodness, man. You've played the game. You played in high school. You played Little League. You played college ball. You know what I mean? What's that one memory that always comes back to you, man, and be like, this moment was something I'll never forget?
As a player?
As a player.
Probably my last game in high school. I think that's one of those I just never forget. I loved high school football. I still do. That's why I'm coaching it. And when the end hit me, it was hard. So that's probably the one. We lost to South Laurel. Neil Warren was there. 58-54, something like that in a shootout. So, that was a tough one.
And there's only 6 teams every year that are happy at the end of the season.
Right.
Yeah, and it's crazy when you talk to a college guy or you talk to a professional guy, it all comes back to high school. You know what I mean? That's where their greatest memories are
I've
at.
coached several kids that have played the NFL, and when we talk football, they always want to talk about high school. They don't want to talk about it. I'm like, hey, how was it going to Pittsburgh, going to Dallas and playing? They're like,
right.
It was great playing at Trinity, or it was great. You know what I'm saying? It was great going to this school. They don't want to talk about the pro game. It's all because it means so much.
Yep. And let's spotlight some of your guys you have on staff here. You know what I mean? We met you guys over at Western Hills for that showcase and everything. I came up, introduced myself. You guys had a great group of guys that were there. Just spotlight some of those guys, man.
So we've been really lucky. When I first got here, I think we had 4 coaches on staff. That was basically what we were working with. Now we've got, I think we have 9. Coach Mount Haddon, who used to be at Ballard, Oldham County. He was at Henry County for a while. He's our defensive coordinator. Gary Satori, he's our offensive line coach.
That's my guy.
Tom Hawkins, he's been around in this area for a long time. Trying to think. Brandon White, he's from Oldham County. He actually played at UK. We got a guy named Chris Craddock. He's from Shelby County. He's a volunteer. Honestly, we give him a hard time all the time, telling him he's the most important coach on the staff because in the past he's been our kind of our water guy. He would have everything set up. We've got water set up around practice at each station as we go, so we don't necessarily have to take water breaks. Kids can kind of get a shot whenever they want to. This year he's moved into coaching DBs, so he's learning that as he goes, but he does a great job with it.
Is he still doing the water?
He still does both. So while we're doing defensive time, it's a group effort to get the water out there and get it ready. When we move to offensive side, he's kind of got it for us. Coach Larry Montgomery, who was an interim coach here before, he's a local guy, community guy for us. Does a great job. I'm sure I'm leaving somebody out. Justin Hedges. Justin played quarterback here, went to Union and was there for a while. This is his first year back. So he's helping us. He'll be coaching wide receivers this year. So,
I noticed you've got a pretty good mix of I don't want to say older because that's not the experienced guys and a couple young guys. I mean, Satori, he was a head coach for many, many, many years.
Yes.
We worked together. I know Gary. I give him crap all the time. So, but Gary's a very knowledgeable guy on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, and I noticed you've got some guys that are up there in age a little bit that have been around that can really help these younger guys that are coming in, like your first-time coaches, and that's very important to have those old guys show these young guys how to do things.
Absolutely, and that's one thing, from the guys that I learned from coming up that was always important. We always had a good mixture, and like I said, Satori does a great job. The thing with the older guys that I think is they do a great job of teaching the fundamentals. A lot of times your younger guys will try to skip over stuff and skip the steps, but the older guys are there to kind of remind them, hey, we got to stick to the fundamentals. Coach Haddon does a great job on defense. Of making changes and be able to come up with a lot of different looks and give people different things like that. And, we've talked about, line up and run triple option anymore. A lot of the young guys, do they even know how to stop it? Have they ever seen it? Things like that. So, you've got guys that have been around. They've seen a whole lot of different stuff over the years. So
it's a marathon, not a sprint. The young guys want to sprint.
Exactly.
All the time. They don't want to.
And as you get older, you learn you wear yourself out doing that.
Yeah, and you'll get to it eventually. You'll get to it. Yeah. You got to do the fundamentals. If they get the fundamentals, then you can move on.
Right.
Yeah, and you got a young man here in Blaze, very very talented young man. He's not here today, right?
Right. He is actually a Governor Scholar. So.
Well, I think we'll excuse him.
Yeah,
that's excused.
It when he first found out, and he came to me, he's the kind of kid. He came and asked, Coach, I got Governor Scholar. I've been selected. Are you okay if I go? Like, well, how do I say no to that? But that's the kind of kid he is. He wants to do the right thing. He wants to do what the coaches want to do. And honestly, it's kind of changed our practice a little bit, but it's been really good because we've been able to get other quarterbacks some reps and some we got a couple young guys that, Blaze is a senior, he's going to move on. So we've been able
and God forbid he gets dinged or something during, I mean, that's.
He was out 2 years ago with a broken wrist. So, it's been good to be able to get those guys reps. And we've been able to slow down and kind of go through the offense and kind of give the other guys, that the older guys that have been playing a refresher and, again, hit those fundamentals early on.
Yeah.
He's a dude. He is a dude.
He is.
He's a dude. And I'm going to tell you, I went to he went to the P2P tryout over at Sales, and I watched him. He was throwing into the wind. Unbelievable. His
you can
arms
tell
count.
when a kid catches a ball, and it makes that sound. Mm-hmm. And when he throws the ball, it makes that sound.
Yes. And he's a kid who loves the game. Like, he will, if I call him and say, hey, meet me up at 10 o'clock, we can sit up here all day and talk football and go over stuff. He loves it. He spends his summers going to camps. He spends his summer going down to Nashville and working with a quarterback trainer.
He'll be a coach one day.
He will be. And that's what he wants to do. He's already said that. So, he's a great guy to have leading the team.
Yeah, so let's spotlight a couple of your young guys, man. Or some of your, the guys that aren't Blaze. Maybe a couple seniors you have out here that are going to be on there. Will you bring them on a pod or?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, who are you going to lean on this year other than Blaze?
Yeah.
Landon Smither will be a senior. He played running back for us last year and linebacker. He rushed for just over 1,000 yards. He had 400 yards receiving. He's kind of an all-around back for us. He's a very, very good linebacker. He gets in the scouting report. He really knows what's going on. There's things that happen. And I asked Coach Hatton about something. He's like, no, we went over that in the scouting report, and he was all over it. He'll be a senior this year. Johnny Reza will be a senior. He's a right tackle for us. Big kid who, just one of those guys that comes to practice every day. You don't ever hear a word from him, but he shows up, he works, he gets his job done, and you really don't even notice him up front because he doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes. So, a lot of times offensive linemen don't get noticed when they do things great, but they do when they mess something up.
Oh, that's right. That is true.
That's true.
Coach Satori's been great for him. We're trying to replace 2 wideouts. Both of our wide receivers from last year graduated. So, that's one thing that we will be trying to break in new guys there. But they're guys who've been on the field. Defensively, Adrian Martinez is our Mike linebacker. He played last year. He's played basketball over the years. This was the first year that he really jumped into the weight room. He's put on 20 pounds this offseason.
He's like 6'2", right? He's a bigger kid.
He's about 6'1", 6'2",
okay.
Yeah.
Last
year, I think he was about 190 last year, 195. He's up to about 215, 220. He's had a really good offseason. He'll be defensively. Trying to think of our other guys. Matthew Roby, nose guard, strongest kid on the team overall. He's one of the short, he's 5'9", but he's a stocky kid, probably weighs about 220 now. Loves the weight room, and he's just going to be a junior for us this year.
So, nose, you run odd front?
Yes. Yep.
I love it.
This guy, he's trying to dig in a little bit, man. He's trying to be like, hey, what do you got going on?
3-3 or 3-5-3? What do you?
A little of both.
Okay.
We kind of got a mixture, and again, that's where Coach Haddon is really good. It just depends on kind of what we're getting as to how we're going to play it,
and who you're playing that week,
and who we're playing. And things change for us over time. We are big as a staff on adapting to what we have. We can't have a system that this is what we're going to run if we don't have the kids to do it.
You can't run a 4-2-5 with 3 linemen.
Right.
You can't run
Exactly.
You can't. I mean, it's the truth. You
It's
can't
the
run a
truth.
5 front with 3 linemen. You just can't.
Right.
I mean, you got to dance with the girl who brung you. I mean, that's great coaching. I mean, you can't force feed them what you can't make them do. I mean, if they can't do it, they can't do it.
Yes.
Man, we've had a great episode, man.
Yeah,
this
like
is a
it.
great
This is
episode.
I wish this place was closer. I'd be here on Friday night.
Man, you know what I mean. I always get anxiety because I see the kids start coming in.
Yeah,
so I'm
they're
like,
all looking
we
in.
got to hurry up and get Coach out of here so he
Right.
can go and do this. But yeah, like I say, Coach, it was a phenomenal episode.
Yeah.
Jam packed. I know we were jumping all over, but this is what it is trying to get your community to know who you are, even though you are in the school,
Right.
and everybody should know who you are. But man, it just the state, you know what I mean, your mentors, you know what I mean, can really understand what you're trying to do here, and it's just exposure for us too, so we can come out on a Friday night and just be like, yo, I really support Coach Jones and what he's doing here.
Right. No, and appreciate you guys coming out, and again, you're love to have you on a Friday night if you got a Friday night available, or just come see a game here. That'd be great.
Yeah, I appreciate you. I appreciate it. It was an awesome episode. But like we always say, everyone has a story.
We're here for them to tell it.
Cleats to Whistle Podcast.